If there's one thing that I've always loved about the Wii era is how it got many gamers who weren't gamers at the time into gamers. Basically, you took a novel concept and flipped it on its head. I'm talking about the Wii Sports games and most of those. Obviously, these games were absolutely amazing, and well, but however, before we go into those games, I'd like to tell you guys that Pac-Fessor is here for this review.
Yeah, it's good to be here once again. Yeah, I got this game on launch day. Same with you too. And wow, there's a lot to say about this game.
Yeah, for sure, guys. Switch Sports is an interesting one for sure. We both got the game on launch, although he got it physically. I got it digitally. But before we dive into the craziness that is Switch Sports, let's talk about the previous games. So obviously there's the original Wii Sports. This game came bundled with pretty much every Wii in existence, aside from a few that came with other games. This game was the one that really changed everything. It got a lot of people who weren't into video games into video games. It was a simple tech demo that became the best-selling Wii game and one of the best-selling, if not the best-selling Nintendo game of all time. Then eventually in 2009, we got Wii Sports Resort, and my god, this is an amazing sequel. Instead of 5 sports, there's a whopping 12. There's modes within modes, and while the original had training modes, and I guess Wii Fitness if you could count that, Resort upped it up completely with not only 12 sports, but many other modes. It was a blast. Then in 2013, we got Wii Sports Club for the Wii U, which was just a remake of the original Wii Sports, but with a whole subscription service type of thing where if you got the game digitally, you either had to pay for all the individual sports, or you could buy a day pass to print the game for 24 hours. There was also a physical version with all the sports intact, but my god, that is really expensive, and I'm not paying that price. So you can imagine my absolute shocker when Nintendo Switch Sports got revealed in the February 2022 Direct. At the time, I was extremely optimistic and really mad about it. I did not like the Sportsman's design, and I especially did not like the way how they advertised it as not being able to even use the leg strap accessories at launch, nor could you play golf at launch. At the time, that really pissed me off, and there was actually a full-on video entirely where I talked about Switch Sports. You could tell I was really mad about the game in my video because it just didn't feel like a Nintendo game. However, eventually, eventually later in the month, we then got to play an online playtest of bowling, chambara, and tennis. That's exactly when my feelings changed. When I played the online playtest, I had bundles of fun, and I had quite a lot of fun. While it was only 45 minutes long, I had a lot of fun and could not wait for the full release. The days went by and eventually the game released. And the day the game released, me and Pac-Fessor bought the game day one, filmed a video of us playing all the sports online, and had a blast.
Yeah, the online mode is very fun. It never lags, and over time the online gets better and better.
Yeah, for sure. So let's go over all of the 6 sports that are included in Nintendo Switch Sports at launch, at least. I don't know if we'll talk about golf, but there's probably not much to talk about it even when it releases. First sport in the collection is, well, there's a couple of new ones. Soccer and volleyball and badminton. Those are the new ones here. The first one we can talk about is soccer. And not gonna lie, soccer reminds me kind of like Rocket League. Think about it. There's a giant ball, you're locked in the stadium, and, well, it's a fun mode. It's one of my favorite sports in the game, if not my third favorite. Basically, you could choose between different teams. There's 1v1, 2v2, and many more. And if you got the leg strap accessory, you could play an exclusive mode called Shootout, where you just shot the ball at this goal. I really don't know much about it since I didn't buy the physical version. Pac-Fessor, can you explain what it is since you probably played it since you own the physical version of Nintendo Switch Sports?
Yeah, for sure. So right now you can't use the leg strap accessory for main matches at this point until like this summer. But you can only use the leg strap accessory for practice modes, like practice shooting the ball in the goal, and the goal gets smaller and smaller if you make it in the goal each time. Yeah, soccer mode, it's very fun. I got to say, use both Joy-Cons. The only thing I got to say about this Switch Sports in general is that I wish you could use the Pro Controller, but otherwise it's a great game.
Yeah, I never really got that. It's funny how you could use Joy-Cons. The Pro Controller actually does have motion controls in it, so it baffles me that you're not able to use it, but I could see why, as it'd probably be really awkward playing it with a Pro Controller.
Overall, it's kind of like Super Mario Party.
Overall, soccer is a pretty good game. Score up to... Basically, here's how it goes. You obviously score a lot of points, and within the final point, if it's not extra time at that point, you can then get a golden ball, which will net you double points. However, if no one has scored a point, or if you're both tied, you will then go into extra time, and it won't end until one person gets a goal. That's basically how the game works. You could also do many other moves than just kicking. You could do this like headbutt thing that wastes your stamina. Yeah, there's stamina, and basically what that does is that when you're running, you can run faster instead of walking. That's how you end up losing stamina. It kind of reminds me of Breath of the Wild in a way. That's exactly what it reminds me of. So you can die like that. So you can die, and again, that wastes it a little bit, but it's worth it. Overall, soccer is a really fun game in the package, and it's a pretty good one to play. The only downside with soccer is that it's like the only game in the entire game where you cannot play 4 players in, which makes no sense since there's literally a 2v2 mode in the game, but whatever.
Yeah.
Next
and
up,
also, the headbutt move, it also reminds me of the Luigi headbutt move from Smash.
Yeah, the misfire from Smash, yeah, it does remind me of that too. The next game is Badminton. Now, me and Pac-Fessor actually played badminton in real life before, so this isn't that much of a thing. Basically, it's kind of similar to tennis in a way, although instead of throwing the ball, you just keep hitting it in the air. You can do different types of shots, like a drop shot if you hold down the ZR button, or you can do many other different angles too. The only thing I could really say about badminton that I don't really like is that there's this weird mechanic where you just trip for no reason. I don't know why that happens. But it happens way too much time, and it honestly makes me mad every single time it happens.
It's because you hit it too early.
I think that's the reason why. Because I saw something online. There was like some sort of punishment, like if you kept like missing, like if you did that, something like that. So I guess that is like a little bit of a punishment. So I eventually learned to not do that. Because you could definitely tell when me and Pac-Fessor played the game online together, I was getting really mad at badminton just because of that mechanic. But overall, badminton is quite a fun game. It can get really, however, most of the games can get really long since both of you guys just keep hitting it in the air and really nothing happens. Next up is the absolute classic, bowling. I mean, come on.
I played this one in real life.
Yeah, I've also played bowling in real life. In fact, I actually have a bowling trophy in real life. So you can see I'm also good at real bowling as well. Bowling is pretty similar to the original version. I mean, there's really not much to say. Everyone has probably played Wii Bowling at this point. However, though, some of the modes from Wii Sports Club and Resort are back, and there's something called a special mode. However, unlike those games, it changes every single frame. So one time it could be like spin control, or it could be insanely like an escalator or a big ramp or whatever. It can get really fun. And then here's where the real funness kicks in. They decided to change up bowling for online this time. Unlike Wii Sports Club, where it was just regular bowling, in Nintendo Switch Sports, they decided to change it up, and they made it like a tournament aspect. Basically, there's 16 players, and if you don't score enough and get up in there, you will get eliminated. There was about 4 rounds. There was round 1, 2, in the semifinals, and last of all, the finals. Within these rounds, if you fail to get at least a decent score, you will get eliminated and will lose the game. But this is probably one of my favorite parts about Nintendo Switch Sports. It's a really good changer on bowling. It makes the game really fun, compared to Wii Sports Club, where the games took at least 20 minutes each, literally. I mean, at least they didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, while as much as I like the tournament style, I also would have liked to see them do something like Wii Sports Club, where it's just a normal game, no tournament. But I still quite like survival bowling. That's what it's actually called, survival bowling. It's probably one of my favorite things in the package so far.
Yeah, all my modes for bowling is like very fun. Like you get to compete against other people and see who gets to make it to number one. That's my favorite mode in bowling.
And I gotta say, while you're just waiting for people to finish, that music is an absolute bop. I wish I could play it, but it's a pretty new game, and I'm like forgotten man. It's not like a month old at this point, so I'm not even gonna play the music in the background. So unfortunately, no, you won't be hearing the music, but it is a pretty good music, I will say. It's pretty much a really good bop. Next up is actually, did I forget volleyball? I think no, is that in the down row? I think I messed up. All right, whatever. Next up, I guess we can do volleyball next. Volleyball is actually pretty similar. There's like 4 different things you can do. The game will tell you what you're doing next. So you'll have to do either a bump, a set, a jump, or a spike. Well, either, okay, I know now. It was a bump, set, spike, or you can block it if the other opponent is going towards you. However, though, one thing that infuriated a lot of people, who didn't really fear me that much, was people kept getting mad about how the game kept telling you if you were late or not. Although I always got the timing down, so I rarely ever got the message. But I could see why a lot of people got mad about it. Overall, volleyball is one of my favorite games in there, for sure.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites too. Yeah, it's pretty similar to real volleyball. It's 2 people on a team, and I didn't play that one as often, but yeah, I gotta say it's pretty good.
Yeah, just like badminton, I also play volleyball in real life, so it was quite a fun time to play. All right, let's go back in actual order now. Next up is tennis. Tennis, I actually do not like in Switch Sports. There's just something about it that I just don't like about it. I think I don't know if I talked about this in a video before, but there's just something about tennis's physics in Switch Sports that kind of infuriate me. Basically, half the time, your back person does most of the work. The front person barely even hits, and half the time when you hit with the back person, it either goes flying to the left or to the right. There's no consistency here. And while you could say the original games got boring fast, at least with Switch Sports, they tried to make the game more thicker. But honestly, I just do not like tennis and Switch Sports that much. It's not my cup of tea, but I can see why some people like it. It's definitely a little bit better than badminton in my opinion, but this also was in club, but they added the gimmick from Wii Sports Resort and table tennis, where if you messed up, one of your opponents can do something called a power smash and immediately send it flying towards your way. That was recycled from Resort, then got put in club, and now it's in Switch Sports. Now, honestly, that's like the only thing really new about tennis.
I gotta say, it's basically the same thing as Wii Sports Tennis. It makes like the same sound when you hit the ball, basically. And then, it makes you slip too, like Badminton, which we never saw that in the original Wii Sports game. Yeah, I sort of like it because I still like it, but the only thing I don't like about it is like you slip a lot, just like Badminton.
Well, actually, it's not as punishing as Badminton is. Yeah, you could slip in this game, but for whatever reason, unlike Wii Sports, you could still slip in Wii Sports, but that's only like if you sometimes that occasionally happens. In Switch Sports, even if the ball is halfway across from you, your character could just go and hit it for whatever reason. Now, in my opinion, the tripping is nowhere near as punishing as Badminton is, as unlike Badminton, you don't get punished the more and more you do it. At least in Badminton, the more and more you mess up your shots, the more worse the trip can get. Sometimes in Badminton, the trip can last for about 5 or 6 seconds sometimes. But at least with tennis, the trip doesn't even last that long, and you can easily hit the ball back even if you trip. At least in Badminton, it's pretty much over for me if I trip in Badminton, because it's just near impossible to hit the ball at that point. But overall, tennis is a pretty good sport, and like I said, I prefer the original, but it's still quite a fun sport if you want something to do.
Yeah.
Next up is another one I didn't really like compared to the source material. Chambara. For some reason, they decided to rename it. The original game was in Resort, and it was called Swordplay, and they messed up this game hard compared to Resort. In the original game, here's how it went. You two were basically on a stadium with lightsaber-looking swords, and but they added something in Switch Sports that definitely punishes people who were just doing Waggles before. In Wii Sports Resort and Swordplay, you could pretty much just shake your Wii remote and instantly win. In Switch Sports, instead of shaking your Joy-Con, that's actually punished. Instead, in order to even land a hit, you want to hit in the direction the opponent is facing the sword at. However, the stun time for Switch Sports is definitely way more longer than Resort is. Resort is definitely still punishing when it comes to stunning, but Switch Sports is a lot more punishing when it comes to getting stunned. And half the time, the Joy-Con is not as responsive as the Wii remote is, which is baffling to me. Sometimes I would hit completely where the direction is with the sword, but then my Joy-Con would just swing the other side and mess me up, and then I would lose the game because of that. Chambara is honestly one of my least favorite sports because of how badly they messed it up. And the swords don't even look like lightsabers anymore, which kind of sucks. But overall, it's almost the same game, just not taking place outside this time.
Yeah. Yeah, I never played swordplay in real life. That's the only sport I never play when I play those sports in Switch Sports. But yeah, I gotta say that the Wii Sports Resort is much better because it's easier to control. And you have it's like a lightsaber battle, and you got the red one as the opponent, and you have the blue one as you're playing as player one. But yeah, I still like the Switch Sports Chambara or Swordplay, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's all right. But I prefer the Wii Sports Resort one more.
Yeah. And without further ado, that is all the sports in Nintendo Switch Sports at the moment. Maybe when they announce more stuff, we already know golf is coming in the fall, but who knows, maybe they might add boxing, archery, or basketball back. That would be amazing. And maybe if so, we could revisit this another time and talk about those sports.
Well, there's a rumor that we might get basketball and dodgeball, but we'll see.
And there's not very much to say afterwards. There is one more thing I can say about online. So obviously, you might be thinking with the difference in bowling, that's the only difference they really had online. But another thing to keep you going is getting to pro leagues. Basically, if you play the same sport exactly 10 times, you can then advance into pro leagues. And these kind of work similar to a little bit differently. So basically, you're ranked. So originally you could start off with E, then go up to E+, and all of that. That's basically how you unlock pro leagues in the game. Another thing is that the game mostly takes place online. So you can unlock new items online. At the moment, there's only 3 collections. There's the Simple Collection, the Cute Collection, and the Soccer Collection. And they're probably going to add a new collection tomorrow as of this recording. So,
yeah.
So other than that, that's basically what Switch Sports has to offer. The game is $40 digitally and $50 physically because of the Lake Strap accessory. And for a $40/$50 title, here's where the negatives come in. Basically, this game has way more less content than the original game did. Unlike the original game, which had 5 sports, not even is there golf at launch, and you can't even use the Lake Strap accessory at launch, nor is there any training modes. You can't play something like Power Throws or Target Practice or literally any other training mode in the entire game. The only different modes you got are the ones in bowling and soccer. Not even all of the games got different side modes like Resort or the original. That's where the game lacks content. A game that came free with your Wii has more content than this $40/$50 game. And on top of that, this game doesn't even feel like a Wii Series game. Now, while you can't play as Mii, they look really awkward and don't look like Miis. If anything, they look like Sportsmates, but if they're wearing a Mei head costume onto them. They don't look like Miis. And that's really all I gotta say about Switch Sports. Other than that, the game is quite fun, and you will definitely get a kick out of it. If you loved Wii Sports, you would like it. If you didn't like Wii Sports, you probably wouldn't like it. A lot of people seem to be on the negative side of this game because of the sports mates and the whole issue with golf and the leg strap accessories, which I can get. That's how I was at first. But then, ever since that playtest, this game has been a whole roller coaster of emotions for me.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are also negative about Battle League, but for Nintendo Switch Sports, for a game that's $40 digitally and $50 with the leg strap accessories, that's the one I have. Yeah, if you're a big sports fan out there and who cares about the series still, yeah, I think it's definitely worth it. It was definitely worth it to me because we're gonna get pretty much content for basically a year because we're gonna get all these updates with all these costumes and different clothing items. So yeah, I cannot wait to see what we get. Let's hope we get Nintendo themed in-game items. That'll be pretty badass.
Yeah, for sure. But overall, though, Switch Sports is a game that just came out and definitely is not going to outsell the original anytime soon. I mean, the original sold so much that there's a reason why it sold so much. I mean, come on, it came with your Wii, for God's sakes. But Switch Sports, at least in my opinion, is not going to sell nowhere near as well. But I don't know. There's just something about it that strikes to me. Well, I'm definitely not that mad about the game, and the only thing that really pisses me off about it is the lack of content. I honestly feel like it's a good game. And while a lot of people can trash on Switch Sports all they want, it's still the good old game that we used to love back then. And it's honestly insane to me that we even got a Switch Sports. At the Wii Sports Club, I thought the series was done. I thought we were never going to get another game again. Not only because of how badly Club flopped and the Wii U as a whole did, but even if they were, what the heck would they even call it? Because the Switch is clearly not called the Wii. I mean, it's just insane to me that this even happened, and I'm really happy.
Just wait till Switch Party comes out from NDQ.
Yeah, for sure. There could be more in the industry, like Switch Party, maybe Switch Music. I mean, Wii Music is the only Wii Series game to not get a sequel. I guess Wii Chess, if you're... Yeah, okay, yeah. There's people who know about Wii Chess, apparently. I got comments in my Wii Series title theme video about, hey, where's Wii Chess? I'm like, oh my god, I forgot about Wii Chess. So I guess other than Wii Chess, Wii Music is the only game to not get a sequel. So overall, I can't believe Switch Sports exists, and it's a fun game to go back to. If you want a Switch game that's simple and you want to play for family, Switch Sports is a good game to pick up. It's a fun time, and while it may be lacking of content, it will be a blast. And especially with playing online with your friends, it could be even more of a blast. Now, for people who do not have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, they will be missing out on most of the experience because, well, that's where all the unlockables come from. So that's going to suck for Switch Online users. But, it's still a fun game, and that's really all I got to say about it. And if you're thinking that the Wii Series retrospective is going to continue, it probably won't. Me and Pac-Fessor made this video is because Pac-Fessor did a poll on Twitter and Switch Sports won the poll of the review game of choice. So a special thanks to Pac-Fessor for joining this video, as it was an absolute blast to make. And in my opinion, it was a fun game. And it seemed like they decided to drag on for quite long, as the video is 24 minutes, just as long as the Forgotten Land one, which is pretty insane. I mean, probably because we went pretty in-depth with it. So thanks so much to Pac-Fessor for joining and, helping me review this game. And obviously, guys, we have a lot more videos coming soon. And I don't know if I told you guys about this yet, but we're almost concluding Season 1 of Pac-Fessor videos. We only got one more video to go, the 10th video. Because this video will be
I think that's going to be our Wimpy Kid review, probably.
Yeah, I mean, Switch Sports, this is the 9th video, so whatever is the 10th video will be the final one for Pac-Fessor Season 1, and then I will probably make a compilation of all of the Season 1 Pac-Fessor videos. Do not worry, it's still part of the Key Text episodes, so it's still part of Season 5, figured it would be a cool thing.
Yeah.
So...
And also, guys, stay tuned for our Pac-Man Museum Plus review for Season 2, along as well as a special GameCube review that is currently in development.
Yeah, guys, you guys will be honestly really surprised by the GameCube game, as it's a absolute favorite for many people. The start of Season 2 is looking bright with Pac-Man Museum Plus and the GameCube game. And obviously, do not forget many other videos coming in the future, such as Splatoon 3 and Battle League gameplay when those games release. Just like Switch Sports, we'll probably be playing them day one and make a video on it. And yeah, and I obviously look forward to many more other videos coming in the future, aka ones we've probably announced in the direct and all that. Without further ado, it seems like I've kind of been rambling on a little bit. Thank you guys for watching this review of Nintendo Switch Sports, and let us know what games would you want to see reviewed next. We already have a couple in development other than the GameCube game, so let us know because, well, obviously we like doing these.
Yeah.
So without further ado, take care, guys.
See you guys.